Hey you guys, this video is just talking about the year 2013 and how we're moving into 2014 and the different energies of the different years because of the numerological number associated with the year. So it was really interesting, I've learned a bit about numerology, and it's definitely something that I want to learn even more in depth, as well as so many other things. I mean, I have a Gemini ascending, so I like to learn all different things, and I usually hop from different things to different things, all the time. It's hard for me to sort of channel my energies all into one thing at times. So yeah, I like numerology. It's an interesting discipline, and I feel like when looking at the sort of the numerological associations with each of the years, there's a lot that can come from it, that can kind of let us know what to expect for that year. And to me, it was really interesting because when I looked at it and looked at my own life, 2012, we were under the number 5, and 5 is more about change, like drastic change. It can be something, it can be a bit of conflict, it can be a bit of a challenge being under the number 5. And for me, 2012 was a hard year. I mean, like, wow, it was hard for me. I think it was hard for most people, but it was a struggle. And it was interesting because it's so funny because the year that I think struggled the most was actually the year that I grew so much spiritually. And to me, there's always been this association with sort of struggle and difficulty and spirituality. It's like they seem to go hand in hand. Like, it's so funny that when our lives are going all good and everything is all peachy and good, and we don't care so much for sort of spiritual help or guidance, but it's like when we're in like the thick of it, that's when we usually grow the most, in all kinds of ways. We learn lessons, we are able to kind of just grow wiser, and to be able to move through certain things because we've already been there. And it's a challenge, but then at the same time it's so worthwhile when you can look back on it, because I know for sure that where I am now spiritually and the things I'm trying to do, I definitely wouldn't have done had I have not gone through those experiences in 2012. So 2012 was, I think, a pivotal year for me in a way, but it was definitely a challenging year, and it was a very interesting year in that I found that a lot of truths were being told in 2012. A lot of government things were coming out in 2012. There were so many documentaries that were on, like, showing on the UK, talking about governments and exposing things that they were doing in terms of housing crisis, in terms of a lot of them doing false claims for things, when it came to their expenses and using taxpayer money and all this other stuff. Like, a lot of things was being revealed in 2012, and a lot of that stuff has continued to be revealed. So definitely 2012, I think, was a pivotal year of change in a lot of ways, on a whole. And then we moved into 2013, and 2013 was so interesting because before it fully came through, and when it was in December, I did a reading for myself. I did a couple of readings for myself, and the full card came up like each and every time. So I knew that 2013 was definitely going to be a significant year of changes, but it was going to be about following your intuition, following your passion, following your heart, and letting it guide you. And that's actually really interesting because 2013 we were under the number 6, and the number 6 is about love, about relationship, about balance and harmony. So I feel like the a lot of us in 2013 did things where we followed our heart, where we took a risk and we just went for something because we just felt guided to. It's like we just had that kind of our intuition just helps us to just move in different directions. And I feel like a lot of people were just going with the flow of things and doing what felt right and just went with it. And I feel like a lot of people as well, when it came to relationships, a lot of people took further commitments into their relationships. A lot of people were getting married, or got engaged this year. And so, and for me, it was really interesting because I noticed a lot of the people that I knew that either got married or engaged were people that I least expected out of like anyone to get married or engaged. Like the circumstances that they happened under was like the most peculiar circumstances. I mean, I had friends that I literally thought was single, and then all of a sudden was like, I'm engaged, and I was like, who is this person you're engaged to, kind of thing, like, were you single? Like, I'm sure you weren't seeing somebody like a month ago or something like that. And they'll be like, but yeah, and this is that, we're getting engaged. I was like, okay, all right. Or like I had, and this happened a number of times. Like I had a couple of friends that I was just so shocked, like, wow, like you're getting engaged, you get married, like, okay. But I think a lot of people were just going for it this year. I think it was just that sixth energy that was just making people just go for that kind of thing. And I feel like there was a lot of healing in the six as well, like for 2013. I think a lot of people went through periods of healing with any kind of relationship that was an issue. So I think some relationships, the ones that obviously just uh, served this course, would have ended. And I think, if anyone had issues like issues with their parents, issues with, I don't know, co-workers, issues just with any kind of relationship that was going on, I feel like there was more potential for things to be healed and for things to be resolved. And so I know for me that definitely showed up in terms of issues that I had, especially with my dad and everything. I felt like a lot of stuff was becoming was a lot of things were moving in a better direction, and the healing was really beginning, and I was letting go of a lot of things, a lot of maybe resentments from the past, things that were going on. It was just easier for me this year to be able to heal from so many emotional situations. And I think that would have been the case for a lot of people as well. And so it's interesting because now in 2014 we're moving into the seven energy, and the seven energy is a divine energy. So it's about introspection. It's about it's said to be not really a time to really take action, but it's more of a time to kind of to retreat and to kind of just analyze maybe our lives, the path that our life is going in, maybe even choices and decisions that we've made. And it might be a time where we're even questioning our own spirituality as well, and the things that we believe and all this other stuff. So I think a lot of things are going to be going on with people on an internal level and a spiritual level. So there's going to be definitely a lot of time for us to be able to kind of reassess a lot of things that is going on in 2014. And I feel like in also reassessing a lot of things, I also feel like in a lot of things that we began in 2013, because I think a lot of people did begin things, because we also had the Jupiter influence, with I think Jupiter moving into the 10th house. And so a lot of people were doing a lot of things that are related to Jupiter, the planet. And Jupiter is all about you know education, learning new things, all about long distance travel and things like that, doing things that make you grow and expand you. And a lot of people actually did go back into education, or was learning something completely different that they had never learned before, or something that was maybe really out of the blue. Like maybe you just got inspired randomly to just do this course in something that is just completely left field of anything you've ever learned before, or whatever, but you just felt the urge to do it, and you just went for it. And a lot of people that probably never traveled before decided to go somewhere completely different that they've never been before, that was far away from home. So it definitely was a year of kind of growing and expanding yourself, with Jupiter's influence. And I know for me it definitely showed up in both of those aspects, in that, you know, I learned a lot this year, a hell of a lot this year, probably more than I've ever learned my whole life. I've read more books this year than I probably ever read in a very long time. And also I traveled this year somewhere I had never been before, and I did it with my son, which was something that I was concerned about in previous years. Before, I would never travel just me and my son. I always wanted, you know, for somebody else to be there, and because of that I missed so many opportunities to travel. And so this year I was just like, you know, I don't care, I'm going away, I'm gonna have a good time. And me and my son, we did that, and we had an amazing time. So, and that's something I want to continue doing, and that's another thing that is on my New Year's resolution for 2014, is to continue traveling and experiencing new things, and to keep on growing and expanding myself in different ways, expanding my knowledge of different things, expanding myself in terms of, you know, cultural things, learning just different things, you know, that can, you know, just helps you to be a more well-rounded person in general. Those kind of experiences, and definitely to learn more spiritually and to grow spiritually also, is definitely something that is very important to me. And you know, I could write it down as a resolution, but to me it's just one of them things that I just would do, you know. It's not, I don't feel like I have to make a point of really noting it, but yeah. But it's going to be a really interesting year, I think, 2014. I think it's definitely going to be an opportunity for us all to just grow spiritually more than anything, and to learn more about ourselves, to be more in tune with ourselves, because that's really what spirituality is supposed to do. It's not only for us to learn about, you know, divine presence outside of ourselves, but it's all about learning about who we are within our own self, and therefore being able to connect with the divine on a level where it's like, okay, we have a greater understanding, we have a greater knowledge of self, and greater awareness, and through that awareness we can expand it into other things and other aspects of other, not only our lives, but you know, in within understanding ourselves, we can understand each other, we can understand nature, we can understand the universe, we can understand so many things if we can just begin by understanding ourselves. But it's so interesting how really we can go throughout our whole lives never knowing who we are. You know, never you know, being introspective and spending time by ourselves, and, you know, just, you know, a lot of people that are spiritual, they always talk about meditation, 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 meditation. Meditation is great. I'm the kind of person, it is a challenge for me to like sit down and just clear my mind. It's a challenge. I'm more the kind of person, I can do more moving meditations, like I can go out for a walk and meditate that way, try and clear my mind that way. But which, you know, is still good, it still counts as meditation. um but I feel like, you know, not only with meditation, but it's just a case of just sometimes just being by yourself. And even if you're, and being able to question yourself and understand, you know, why is it that I act a certain way, why is it that I do certain things, why is it, just to know what are the things that are motivating you in your life that make you do the things that you do. Because it's so interesting that we in a way can live our whole lives kind of on autopilot, you know, just kind of, you know, just navigating in this life without really being consciously aware of our actions and what it is that we do and what makes us do the things that we do. And it's so important for us to be able to question ourselves and be able to gain a deeper understanding of ourselves, so that we're living the best life we can for ourselves, and also for us to be living our true authentic self, living the life that we want to live in terms of us being who we truly are, and not who we're told we're supposed to be, or you know, I don't want it to turn into this kind of, you know, conspiracy theory kind of video, but I do believe that there are a lot of things, outside sources, that influence us that we don't realize. And like I said, if we don't spend time thinking about these things and addressing these things, we I don't know who I heard this quote from, but it's so true. They said, you know, if you don't make a vision of your own, then you end up being a part of someone else's vision. And that is a really powerful